Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Geeks-Stew. Today, guys, welcome back to another episode of Conspiracy Theories with Ike. That is right. So today, we're actually going to be diving into a little bit of a meta conspiracy theory. But before we get into that, big thanks to Cicada1205. As always, thank you so much for the wonderful conspiracy theory iceberg from Reddit. So, just always, thank you for that. That being said, we are going to go ahead and talk about this today, but I want to go ahead and give you guys a real quick thanks for everything you guys are doing. Continue to subscribe, commenting, and liking, and all of that. So obviously, thank you for that. Continue to give us questions for our 100 subscribers video. We will eventually do it, I promise. We're just trying to get some things ironed out with, as you saw in the Wednesday video, we're trying to get some things ironed out with the upload schedule and everything else. So all that being said, thank you so much again. But continue to ask us questions. Follow us on social media and all that, but we're going to go ahead and jump into this. Today, we are going to be talking about the theory that conspiracies are psyops. So as you can see with the previous transition, we are welcoming back context. That's right. We're welcoming back context to our conspiracy theory videos because it's been a minute, and I honestly am trying to remember the last time I had to do context. And in the last couple videos, there were so many of them that I basically just gave the context and the theory all together in one. But this one's a little bit more detailed, so obviously we're gonna have to do a little bit more digging. So what we're gonna look at today is, what are psyops? So, if you don't know, psyops stands for psychological operations. So, our government in the U.S., and potentially other countries. Obviously I can't speak for other countries, but in my research, I did confirm that the U.S. government does have a psychological operations unit. They even have like a whole badge type deal to kind of indicate who they are. I'll show you that right here. But yeah, so psyops. Psyops, and this is the definition. Now, mind you, this definition is long as hell, so I'm going to read this directly from this because I can usually memorize some things, but I'm not that good. So, psyops are defined as operations to convey selected information and indicators to audiences to influence their emotions, motives, objective reasoning, and ultimately the behavior of governments, organizations, groups, and individuals. Okay, starting to sound familiar. Now, obviously they don't really like to disclose specific instances of psyops. Obviously, we know of some. There are a couple of pretty famous operations that were conducted overseas. Propaganda type things and other things like that to kind of sway governments or peoples of governments who are otherwise pretty tyrannical, or what we deem as tyrannical. Basically, it's just to push the U.S. narrative in the direction that we want to push it. That's pretty much the end result of all of these things. Yeah, I mean, that's really all there is to it. Basically, we're just trying to get the best results to best benefit U.S., whatever our goals are. So basically, psyops are another method in which we complete our objectives. So I guess really that's all there is to the context. Really everything else is mostly about the theory, but yeah, so looking up psychological operations, and I would highly recommend you do the same thing. There's actually a lot. I mean, it's interesting, but I mean, it's kind of fucked up. But I mean, what part of our government and history isn't a little fucked up? But all right, we're going to talk about the theory now. We're going to actually kind of detail why all conspiracies are psyops. Now that we know the definition of a psyop, we know what a psychological operation is. We know what the goal of a psychological operation is. And we know that our government has in fact created these in the past. The theory posits that all conspiracies are psyops. So we're going to kind of play a little pretend here, okay? We're going to play a little pretend. Ready? All conspiracies are psyops. You heard that right. So conspiracies are created with the sole intention of being circulated to obtain an objective created by the government. So basically a conspiracy is created and it's pushed onto the public in some fashion. Nowadays the internet is a golden, literal treasure trove of propaganda pieces. Obviously, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute, but with the whole COVID-19 epidemic, this has been especially evident that the internet is a fantastic way to spread misinformation and propaganda. So, basically, the government creates these theories, pushes them into circulation, and in this day and age, because obviously in previous generations, it with things like posters or books or flyers or simply speaking about it and trying to garner a following, stuff like that. And actually I have two pretty good examples of what I could consider, because mind you, of course, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but I do somewhat believe this to an extent. I don't think all conspiracies are psyops, but I feel like that there are some that could be. So we're going to talk about two specific examples, a modern age example, and then an example from a previous age, from the 60s and 70s. But, so there are obviously different theories that I'm sure you could posit as, hey, this could be a potential psyop. The government could have created this conspiracy theory in an effort to sway someone's opinion or sway a group of people's opinions. So if you have any examples of your own, put those in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear them, and maybe I can revisit this and talk about some other theories. So the first theory that I want to kind of push your way is the JFK assassination. John F. Kennedy was a president, and I'm not going to give you a definition or a biography about John F. Kennedy, but the point being here that JFK's assassination has a billion conspiracy theories. So it's pretty well known that who was it? I say it's pretty well known, but then I can't remember who killed him. Was it Lee Harvey? Yeah, Lee Harvey Oswald, I think, is who it was. I'm trying to make sure I'm not getting that mixed up with the guy who assassinated Abraham Lincoln. I'm pretty sure it was Lee Harvey Oswald that assassinated JFK. Okay, we're gonna pretend that's true. So we know the story, right? He shot him. That's the end of the deal. There's obviously a bunch of conspiracy theories. Second shooter on the green or whatever. There's a lot of theories that people knew this was going to happen. Let's see. Trying to think of another one. That the CIA did it. That the Catholic Church did it. There's all kinds of theories as to who did it and why they did it. A lot of people think that maybe Lee Harvey Oswald was what do they call it? Oh God, what's the? I don't want to say proxy or a fanny. God, what the hell is it? They call everybody this who takes the fall for someone.
1 hour later.
A patty. A pratty. What the fuck was it?
6 hours later.
Patsy. It was a patsy. Everyone thinks that he may. There are not everyone, mind you, but there are a large number of people that may believe that he was a patsy in this, grander scheme of things. So, it's totally up to you and what you believe, but that is a theory. So, kind of the reason I bring this one up is that if the government really wanted to push the people in one direction, because truthfully, a lot of people think that the government did it. Okay, I don't personally believe that. But there is some pretty compelling takes on why the government would want JFK dead. But if that were the case, creating assassination rumors and hoaxes and conspiracies is a completely, an amazing way to take the heat off of them, because they could push all of these different conspiracy theories, including one that the CIA did it, but it basically draws attention away from the government doing it and gives you a bunch of different options to choose from. Another modern day example of what I could consider a potential psyop are COVID conspiracies. So now, obviously, I don't think that the COVID virus was manufactured. A lot of people seem to think that, but what I do believe, what I know for a fact personally, is that the vaccine is real. It works, guys. I promise. So COVID conspiracies, there's a lot of conspiracies about like the origin of COVID-19, whether or not the vaccine is real or how it works or anything like that, and is it killing people? It's really not, but I mean, that's fine. But we're not going to get into that. We're not going to talk about that. But the point being is that with the modern day and age of social media and the internet, you can push propaganda super easily. Alright, so I mean, COVID-19 has so much misinformation and everything else that's going on, regarding it. So it's like, it makes sense, it makes sense that someone would want to maybe push the narrative, even if it's maybe not even the government, maybe it's just a group of people who don't believe in it, so they want to push a narrative, so they're going to create conspiracies in an attempt to create distrust for the vaccine or COVID in general. But I mean, that's a thing too, is that the modern day and age with COVID-19 would be a perfect example of a potential psyop. If I had to choose one, that would be the one I would choose. There are other ones. I couldn't actually, I mean, I thought of a couple other ones, but none as good as these two, quite frankly. Because with how many conspiracies there are about both of these, I mean, COVID-19 has only been around since March of 2020, or at least in the United States. Obviously, it's been around since 2019 in other areas, but March of 2020, that's when it became a reality for America. So, shouldn't have been, mind you, but that's when it became a reality for America. So, given that whole process, it makes sense that the internet would be a good way to transpose those theories, and there are so many theories about it already in just the short 2 years that that we've been dealing with this, almost 2 years, mind you. Not only that, JFK's been around for 70, 80 years or something like that. So it's there's no wonder that those conspiracies are continuing to proliferate and continue to expand in different areas. So, with that being said, there's lots of other theories that could have spun or turned into a psyop to push certain narratives, but we're not going to talk about any others right now. But I guess really now, the only thing now that we have to kind of determine is this possible, and do we believe this? As we move into final thoughts, the main question that we need to answer now is this believable? Do I personally believe in this theory? To an extent. Something that I haven't done previously is I haven't really talked about in depth whether or not I believe in the theory, so I'm going to start kind of integrating that into my final thoughts, and I'm going to kind of start fleshing out my opinions a little bit more to kind of give you guys an idea of what I believe in this case and whether or not I believe it's real. Do I believe that this theory is real? Yes and no. I don't think that all conspiracy theories are designed with a specific intention of being a psyop. I think that a lot of conspiracy theories are generated by the public, by a populace of people who see things in the world and they want an explanation for them. And sometimes there's not an explanation for them. So for the most part, I don't think that conspiracy theories are psyops. For the most part, I think conspiracy theories are legitimate theories that people create and the intention and in the belief that, hey, I want to try and understand this, so I'm going to create a theory that helps me explain it. So that's my thought process. Now, I do think that the government, I wouldn't put it past the government to create a conspiracy theory with the intention of directing a narrative or pushing a group of people in one way or another. So I mean, I'm not trying to shit on the U.S. government, because obviously I know all governments are horrible to an extent. The whole concept of politics and, government and everything else, just generally speaking, is not always the greatest. But what I will say is this: regardless of how bad the government may be, or regardless of how good they may be, there's always the possibility that they're trying to push a narrative, right? That's the whole purpose of politics, is to take your opinion, push it on other people. So, that being said, some conspiracies being psyops does not sound far-fetched to me whatsoever. Right? I gave you two that I specifically think could be psyops, specifically being the COVID-19 epidemic and related conspiracies, and the JFK assassination. So, with that being said, yes and no. There are some situations that I think it could be real, but there are a lot of conspiracies. Most conspiracies I don't think are real, are actually psyops, or real for that matter. I think some of them are just, shit posts, but who knows. But anyhow, as we kind of mold back into final thoughts here, this conspiracy was an interesting one. I got to do a little bit more research on this one because this one obviously has a little bit more in depth. I had to really formulate some extra thoughts on this. So, yeah. So that's kind of where we're going to end it here today. Let me know what you guys think of the conspiracy theory down below. The comments down below. Let me know if you guys believe this theory. If you do believe this theory, or even if you believe it to an extent, let me know what other conspiracies you think are psyops. I have some other ideas of theories that I thought could be psyops, such as, what was the one, like Bohemian Grove. Don't get me wrong, I know that Bohemian Grove could potentially exist, like as in the group of people who worship, like, I think it's like the devil or some shit. I honestly don't know the whole story for that, but I had an idea. I was like, well, why wouldn't the government want there to be people out there who thinks that? Because there's going to be people who think those people are crazy. So that could be a potential psyop. A lot of like the science related stuff could be created with the intention of generating fake ideas or false narratives. Also, another one that I thought that could be an interesting psyop is what is it? The theory that there are multiple universes and things are crossing over, and the Mandela effect. So the Mandela effect could be a psyop with the intention of trying to present itself as like, okay, this is outlandish, but it might be actually happening. So there are all kinds of conspiracy theories that I think could fit into that narrative of being a psyop. So I want to know what you guys think. So let me know down below what conspiracy theories you would say are a psyop. That being said, continue to ask questions for the 100 subscribers video. Keep going ahead and like, comment, subscribe, follow us on social media. I've talked about it a lot in the Wednesday video, but make sure you're following us on social media. You'll get updates about when we post stuff. We're going to start trying to be more interactive with people and talking to people and everything else. So hit us up on social media. It's going to be awesome. But for today, stay awesome, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will catch you in the next one. See ya. I'm just kidding. No scare today. Legitimately no scare today. I like to sit there at the end for a second and just kind of stare. Normally I do it for like editing purposes, but now that I've gotten used to doing like jump scares, I always keep thinking to myself, just stare at the camera, you'll figure something out. But no scare today. This is legitimate this time. I don't want to edit in a scare, so no scare today. Alright, see you guys.